Hey, what's up everyone? Jason Turley here, back with another video. Today, I just wanted to give an update, a bit of a rundown on this project I've been working on. It's just a side project. I made an intro video about it before, but just a quick recap. It is a website, a platform that hosts cybersecurity interviews with cybersecurity professionals. So, for example, if, hey, I want to become a security analyst or a penetration tester, I'm not too sure how, maybe I need to get a couple certifications, maybe I need to learn these key skills, but it'd be great to hear from an actual professional, like actual insights and advice from them. So that's what this website was built for. We do have a few interviews already created and posted online. It's called hackerasks.com. I'll leave a link in the description, and we do have some more coming soon in the pipeline. So I am building this myself, and I just wanted to give like a rundown, like a build in public. I know some of you guys like programming, you like creating things. So if you do have any side projects or hustles you're working on, I would love to hear about those in the comments down below. But as for today, I do have this outline here of changes I've made over the past 2 days. It's currently Sunday, September 8th, and Friday and Saturday I've kind of just been grinding on this thing. So here's a quick overview of what we'll go over today. So I did build a web scraper, and I'll show you the code for that in Python that will scrape a website, grab information I need, and throw that into a spreadsheet. And it just makes it easier for reaching out to candidates for cold emails or cold direct messages. And then I also updated the site design, so how the actual physical website looks and the appearance and the color scheme. And I'll show you a before and after photo of that. And I did get inspiration from exploits.club, which is a newsletter and blog for vulnerability research and exploit development. I'm not affiliated with them any way, shape, or form. I'm just a fan. I think it's a great content. It's a great newsletter. And coincidentally, they also use Ghost, which is the same exact hosting provider and blogging platform that I use, right? So there's a million ways to make a website. You have Ghost, you have WordPress, you have Wix, you have all these things. It just turns out we both happen to use Ghost and then the same theme. So give them a like, or, you know, if you're interested in exploit development and vulnerability research, they do post stuff every Thursday. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just a fan. And then I did like a mental restructure, like, what do I want this platform to be? Do I want it to be a blog where I just upload every once in a while? Or do I want this to be a newsletter where it's like a living, breathing thing where every week or twice a week I send out some type of information, some type of interview? Because those are very different things. A blog, it kind of just exists on the internet. You update it here and there. But a newsletter, people expect that to be somewhat consistent. So like every Thursday or every Monday and Wednesday. So it's just a different rhythm. I did make a Google form for people to sign up, and I made a really cool share page that I'll show. I made some promotional cards and like ad slot cards. I'm not going to use paid advertisements yet. That's like something further down the road. I think it's too new. I don't think paid ads are necessary at this stage. But I did grab some inspiration from another source, and then I did make a couple social media posts that I'll showcase as well. So let's get into the code. Let's show the web scraper that I built. So I have my terminal open here. Let's make this easier to read. Hopefully you guys can see that. So navigate to my directory, code web scraper, do a dir. So I do have a few files in here. There's two websites I wanted to scrape. One was Hacker Factory, which is a podcast from Philip Wiley, where he has a ton of amazing guests on. And the other one is this website called No CS Degree. So I'll pull those both up as well. So No CS Degree, again, not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. I just think they're an awesome resource. So it's a newsletter and blog for self-taught developers, so people who got into not cybersecurity, but like software development and making websites without a traditional computer science background. So if any of that interests you, you can give them your email and just subscribe to the newsletter, or you can go to the website and check that out. So you can see they have a lot of candidates. Over here, we see that there's 201 interviews, right? There's 201 people who have taken the time to do some type of interview with them. So I figured, hey, that would be a great resource to like collect usernames and like people and candidates so I can reach out to them as well. And I could just manually go through and, okay, this guy, his name is Nico. I could find his socials, but that takes way too long. So I wanted to make a web scraper. So let's open this up in VS Code, and we can look at some of the actual Python that I had created for this. Okay. So I'm just going to open both of these up. We can see the no CS degree one, and then we can also see the Hacker Factory one. How do I get them side by side? There we go. So the code for this is really simple, and it's relatively the same for both. I just changed like the URL and stuff. So I import the request library so I can make like a web request. And I have Beautiful Soup, which is a great web scraping framework in Python. And all a web scraper is, maybe I should have like elaborated on what it is. It will just automate things for you. So it'll go to a website, and because websites are built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if I hit Control-Shift-I to bring up my developer tools, you can see over here that all this is a series of code blocks in HTML. HTML has tags. You can see here, like this one's called main and footer and section. And if we expand these, we can see that these are divided up. There's headings, there's different articles. So what I want, so I'm gonna click inspect, and then I'm gonna see how are one of these cards, so like when they make a blog post, how is that formatted in the HTML? So I don't know if you guys can see that. I might have to zoom in. But we do see that there is a tag, anchor, for like a link, and we can see the link here. So 200K exit after learning to code. And then if we look around some more, we can actually see the resource card. And this does have some information as well. It'll have the person's name. It has the name of the blog post. So that's awesome. Like that's stuff that I want to be able to take. You see here the title, right? 200K exit after learning to code. We can see a little excerpt about it. So I wanted to find a way to automate grabbing all of this information. I could do it manually, but that would take forever. This dude has over 200 interviews on his site. So I wrote a little bit of Python to do that. And Beautiful Soup is a library that will help automate that. And then I have OpenPyXL just to throw that information into like a spreadsheet. So very simple. I have some variables here. This is the name of the output file, nocsdegree.xlsx, so like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. The workbook, we have the URL of the actual website that we will be scraping from. We make a very simple GET request. So cool, here's what the URL is. Grab it and get all of that HTML source code. So that's what this page variable is. It contains the HTML source code, and then we can actually scrape it. We need to make a constructor. So looking at the documentation, it seems like they just call this soup. So I don't know why it's called Beautiful Soup. That doesn't make any sense to me. It has nothing to do with cooking. But so we grab the actual HTML from the page and we give it to the Beautiful Soup constructor. And we store that in a variable. Now I wanted to find anything that had the article tag, the article HTML tag. So if you go back here, we do see, where is it at? We see right here that there is an article class. So we come here, so we grab that, and now we're just making like the actual headers of our spreadsheet. All right, but here's where the main like logic of the program is, this for loop. So for every article, iterate across it and do something. So what we want to do is grab the post title, grab the excerpt, like the description about what it is, and then the link. And all this is like using the Beautiful Soup library and the classes it has. Very simple. So for every article, find the H2, so the heading, strip it out because it's going to come back to you in like the HTML tag. So strip it of that. I just want the text. I don't need the opening curly braces and like the opening brackets and everything and the anchor tags. I just want the actual text. So we do that a few times, and then down here we actually write the data to the spreadsheet, and then we save it. So let's open up one of these spreadsheets. You guys can't see it, it's off screen, but let's click here, no CS degree. And it's, I don't have a Microsoft subscription, so I need to open this up in Google Sheets. So there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. We see that we have created 3 columns. We created a title, we created the excerpt or the description of what the actual post is about, and then we have the links to the website. So coming over here, we saw this, right? We saw the 200K exit after learning how to code, a little bit of an excerpt about it. So Nico has an incredible learning to code story. He left e-commerce to learn to code and build startups, and then I have a link. So what I could do is reach out to these folks, reach out to these professionals, because I have a bit of an excerpt about what they did. I already have a title made, so I could use that for my own newsletters or blog. I have a description of what they did, and I have a link to it. So this is awesome. However, after I did this, there's a few errors, or not really errors, but like quirks, I guess. It only pulled like 24, 25 stories and articles. But if we come back here, we saw that there was like over 200, right? So if I go to the console and I do some JavaScript, if I do document, get element by ID, or get element by tag name, and then I throw in quotes article, we see it returns a lot of results. And can I get the length of that? Length. We see that there's 201 articles. So why did we only pull 24? If I go to the networking tab here and then refresh the page, we will see something a little bit interesting. So I already have this filtered on fetch/XHR. By default, it'll be over here on all, and you just see all the resources that it pulls. We see all these images. We see mostly just images, honestly. If I just go to the fetch data, we can see these numbers here, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What are those? So those are different, I don't even know, page requests. So it doesn't load all 200 articles on the screen at once. That would take forever. So I guess what it does is make these separate requests. Because if I double click on like 5, for example, it'll open it up in a new tab. And we see now, I don't know, my brain is like freezing. It's not pulling all 200 articles at once. It's like grabbing them in batches. So that's fine, and that's like good web design, I guess. But for the purposes of our web scraper, it's only pulling them. It's not pulling all 200 at once. It's only pulling like 24 or 25. So a solution for that is you could use a different library. I don't think Beautiful Soup or the Python request library has functionality for this, but I was reading that you could use like the Selenium library, and that will help like do these asynchronous requests. However, I didn't want to do that. I'm like, you know what? These interviews are with computer science and like software developers, which are awesome. However, the focus of my platform, my website, is going to be cybersecurity folk, and there is some overlap there. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just not getting all the data I want, all the information I want, and plus these are computer science folks, these are software developers, these are website designers. They're not necessarily cybersecurity professionals. So that's when I pivoted. I'm like, you know what? Let me do the Hacker Factory podcast that Philip Wally hosts, because those are all cybersecurity professionals. So I just did that instead. The code is a lot similar. You can see here, I just changed the file name to Hacker Factory, but everything else is pretty much the same. I make my headings in my spreadsheet, and now I change the link to this so we can actually just open this up and navigate there. Open up a new tab, paste this in. So we can see all of the different podcasts he hosted. And we see here underneath all episodes that there's 118. So right there, there's 118 guests that I can potentially reach out to. And if I look at the developer tools once again for this, let's make this easier to read. Go to Elements, and we can see all of the HTML tags. So these were a little bit easier to decipher, and all 118 of them are already loaded on the page. So I didn't have to do anything fancy with a different library. I can just use Beautiful Soup. So once again, we make a HTML GET request to grab the HTML source code. We use the Beautiful Soup constructor to make sense of it and parse it and scrape it. And now we're just finding different tags. So feel free to change any of this or make it better. But we find LI. So LI stands for list items. So the way this website structured, each podcast entry was in like a list, like you know what lists are, like bullet point lists or numbered list. So it includes everything in a list. It gives it a special HTML or CSS tag class called ClearFix. So grab those, iterate, and just grab the title, the description, and the link, and then throw that into our spreadsheet, and then finally save the spreadsheet. So very similar to the other code. So let's actually open up that document. So open it up here, Hacker Factory. Nice. And I did edit this manually to change the color. So cool. So now I have the title of his podcast. So Mastering Soft Skills and Selling Yourself, Keys to Success. We have an excerpt, and his excerpts aren't just like a description. They're actually a little bit more in detail. So if I look at it, we can see the guest name, right? Make sure you guys can see that. So we can see the name of the guest. We can see, oops, what did I do? We can see the name of the guest. We get their social media handle. So for Twitter, we get their LinkedIn handle, and then just some other stuff about who the host is and whatnot. So that's perfect. So now I can like DM these people respectfully. I'm not going to like, be a pest. And then I have the link to the podcast episode as well. So my plan is to, and I've already started, I've DM'd like maybe 2 or 3 of these folks, but go through this list and either find a way to automate it or manually like reach out to them and DM them. And if they show interest, that's perfect. That's just more content for us, and we can learn from their wisdom and their expertise, because that is the goal of the website. So I'm super proud of this. I stayed up kind of late at night. I've never really used a lot of these Python modules before, a lot of these libraries. So it's always fun just breaking out the text editor and doing some code. If you guys want access to any of this, sure, why not? I'll throw it up on GitHub for you guys. So that's the web scraper portion. I didn't mean to ramble on this long about it. Forgive me. So that's done. So update the web design. I'll do a quick before and after. So like I said, I took inspiration from Exploits Club. I like how he formatted this. You can see in the background, there's like cybersecurity professionals, or just like, that hacker culture. There's laptops. There's like a map of the US and whatnot, and they're in a city. It just feels like cyberpunk and like young professionals, and that like, I don't know, just that glimmer of hope and whatnot. So it just seemed really cool. So, and he has a very consistent theme for all of that artwork. But enough about him. So I don't want to show that yet. So I want to change my website design. So here's my before. Hopefully that's large enough to see. Oof. So here's what it was before. Very minimal, very simple. Stories and insights from cybersecurity professionals. I have my little logo here up in the top. So fine, not bad, very simple. Now I changed it to this. I changed the logo just to the text, and now I have this like cyberpunk landscape background, and I changed up the color scheme. So now all the links and all the buttons and whatnot are Illini blue. Shout out to the Fighting Illini. And did I have anything else on that? Let's see. Exit out of that. Cool. So I showed the before and after. I showed inspiration. Let me clean up some of these. We already talked about the mental restructure. I think I want this to be a newsletter, like a weekly thing. Made Google form for for interview requests. Cool. So I do have a few interviews already on the website, so check those out if you want. We do have a good number of guests that we got interviews with. But I had no way for people to like shine up. It was always me reaching out to people, always me like cold DMing people. So I wanted a way for people to be able to like actually sign up. So I created this page. It just says share your story. Using Canva, I made this like banner. Hey, newcomers are welcome. Authentic interviews, inspire others with your cybersecurity journey. And then we have like our little logo. And I think this looks cool. It's nice and colorful. It's pretty bright. And then we just have a blurb about why would you even want to share with us in the first place. So some of the perks and benefits you get for sharing. And then down at the bottom, we do have a Google form, and you can just click on this. Make sure you guys can actually read that. And you can just click on the form and fill that out. Cool. I am trying to speed up a little bit. I didn't want this to be another 45-minute video. Make promo and ad cards. So I like how this creator did it. TLDR, too long didn't read newsletter. The morning paper for techies. So if I go to their Instagram page and I scroll down and I just click on like a random post, we can see that not only did they do a newsletter, but they made an Instagram card. And first glance, it's just very bright. It's very colorful. I like the fonts. I like the layout. It tells you what you need to know. The date, the titles. And if we click on next, it just gives like an excerpt of the newsletter. And I just think it's very clean and simple and minimal. And I like that aesthetic. So I made some similar ones in Canva. These are a work in progress. I'm not a graphic designer by any stretch of the imagination. However, I kind of like them. I only made one, and then I just changed up the colors. So, yeah, Hacker Asks, it has our little logo, the emoji of the thinker, because hackers are inquisitive, they're curious, so I figured this is a good symbol for us. Cybersecurity newsletter, some of the perks, right? Cybersecurity success stories, advice from professionals, and then you can join our growing community. And then I have a link to the website. So I haven't posted these anywhere, but it was fun making them. And since I'm a Canva premium member, they do have a lot of like pre-built styles, and I can easily like swap out the color palettes and whatnot. And so it makes graphic design a lot easier. So I'm going to go back to what the original one was. But yeah, so maybe I'll post these in Instagram or something like that. I have no idea yet, but at least I have them and I like how they look. Cool. So what else did we have? The last update I did over the weekend was social media posts on Twitter and Reddit. So I don't have either of those pulled up. Let me pull up Twitter. Let me pull it up off screen just because Twitter is like a mess and I don't know what will pop up when I search it. So cool. Hopefully you guys can see this. So we're here on my Twitter and we're scrolling through some of the posts I made over the weekend. Some retweets, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? We already talked about the redesign. So going from like this very simple one to this more elaborate one. And then what else did we do? I made a post. Hey, calling all cybersecurity professionals, got a story to tell. Share your journey on Hacker Asks, inspire the next generation, boost your personal network, expand your network. It's 100% free. And then a link to that share page that we saw earlier. And this post, hey, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I wrote this post, or like I wrote it myself, and then I fed it to ChatGPT to help like make it more dynamic and more impactful and just like eye catching. And you can tell something was written by AI if there's a bunch of emojis. For whatever reason, ChatGPT loves inserting emojis into like social media posts. It really loves the rocket ships. It really loves the flame emoji. So if you see any posts structured like this, either from myself or from somebody else, it's probably written with AI. And then on the September 7th, I made another post looking for interviews for our website. Found a podcast featuring cybersecurity pros and built a web scraper to collect links and descriptions and dump them into a spreadsheet. Next step is just cold emailing each person. Any tips? Just asking for any tips. So this didn't get a bunch of traction. I don't know. Oh well. I still like it. I'm still having fun. We already looked at this spreadsheet from earlier. And I think that was it. I think that was like the last real post I made. I mean, on the 6th, we interviewed someone, so I like made the tweet about that just to promote it. And then we have Reddit. All right, cool. So if I pull up my Reddit account, let's see. I did make a few posts. I threw it in security creators. I threw it in r/side project, and then so this had a lot of views, actually 498 views. It doesn't have a single upvote or anything, but that's fine. 2 shares, and then I threw in r cybersecurity. I figured this would be a good bet because r cybersecurity has a bunch of users, right? A bunch of Redditors frequently browse it and lurk. We can see it has 12,000 views, 90% upvote rate, and 46 total shares. So that's awesome. So hopefully those guys find some type of value or insight from the website. Heck, maybe some of them will even convert to subscribers. 100% free, not trying to make any money off anybody. I just think it's a cool resource and I want it to grow. So yeah, I made a little post explaining what it is, and then here's some of the stuff, the interviews we've done so far. Happy for any feedback. And then this guy pointed out, like, yeah, hey, your link to your website actually points to something called yourwebsite.com. If I open that up, it does not resolve. This isn't a real website. What it is a placeholder link that ChatGPT inserted, and I was going too fast, and I just didn't catch it. So, like I said before, I do write my own posts, and then I feed it to ChatGPT to fix any grammar, spelling mistakes, maybe make it a little bit less awkward sounding. And hey, it just changed the link for some reason. It changed my link to this dummy link. So that's fun. Poke some fun at it. That's fine. The guy was actually pretty respectful about it. So that's it. I think that's all I really wanted to showcase and share. We do have a few interviews in the pipeline with some already created. So feel free to go to the website, and if any of these seem interesting to you, you can read up on these individuals. And, if you want to be interviewed yourself, feel free to reach out and we can set up a way to do the interview. But that's really it for this video. I thought it'd be cool to showcase and share this. I spent like a good chunk of Friday and Saturday working on it, and I just wanted to showcase and share it with you guys. So if you're working on any project yourself, hey, I want to hear about it. Share them in the comments below. If you want like comfortable merchandise while you're working and hacking, check out the shop in the description. Leave a link below. As always, guys, take it easy and see you in the next video.